Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description. Subscribe to that as well.
Also, check out our friends at deck.com/ham, John.
Decked.com/ham. If you have a truck, if you're a working man, get on this right now. Decked.com/ham.
Makes organizing, accessing, protecting, securing, and everything you need so much easier.
Do it.
You know what's funny about this is we just read some quotes from Pro Football Talk on 49ers Web Zone. Pro Football Talk quoted 49ers Web Zone on Kittle quotes from Good Morning Football. So what goes around comes around. Some of these
aggregators helping aggregators.
Now
like Florio's the richest aggregator.
All right, so this is George Kittle on Good Morning Football. I think Trey Lance has all the attributes to be a special quarterback. He takes risks. He's trying to fit the ball into small windows. I'm excited to see his progress throughout training camp. He's definitely in the right spot. About Garoppolo, Kittle said, I know there was a story that came out that Jimmy was one of the first guys to text Trey Lance. That's just the type of guy Jimmy is. He's not going to shy away from adversity, shy away from a draft pick. He has a fire lit under him. He's excited to roll. I know Coach Shanahan said it, and I said it too. I think Jimmy played one of his best OTAs that I've seen. He was just slinging it left and right, and that was fun to see. So what do we think about Kittle talking about his quarterbacks?
Well, as Kyle, when he said it, admitted this was Jimmy's second OTAs with the Niners.
Hasn't had a lot of opportunity.
He was not there in 17. 18 was his first. 19 he missed because of an ACL. The 20s didn't happen, and so he's two of five. So I see what George is saying, and you and I, the one practice we attended, we had planned on attending another one and then minicamp, but they all got canceled, which not the worst thing.
Can't have a holdout if you cancel OTAs and minicamp, John.
No, you can't. But Jimmy looked good. Like I remember talking to you on the sideline, some other people on the sideline. I don't care who you are. Even if probably Rodgers would be a little different with Jordan Love when you see him that bad. In that situation, when you're someone of Jimmy's caliber, right? You've accomplished something, but you're not accomplished enough to be untouchable. And then the amount of draft picks. One thing players are not dumb with, they do understand two things to me in football. Money, right? So if you sign a huge free agent, they immediately know that guy's just gonna get playing time, right? The money equates to playing time, and draft picks equate to playing time immediately. Now things can change, but Jimmy understands when Trey walks out there, what they just invested in him. Even though Jimmy makes more and is anointed the starting quarterback and still told he's taking the 1 reps, like Jimmy understands it. The urgency of just every rep, some of them he's handing the ball to them, some they're just doing the dual passes. They are just kind of hand in hand in everything they do. And Trey's bigger, he's stronger, he's just way younger, and let's face it, he's kind of the apple of the coach's eye, who the coach is, I don't know, the offensive play caller. So if you're Jimmy, this is where back to his the base of his football, I think really benefits him. You and I, we've talked about the Edelman podcast with Chris Long. It actually is a pretty good insight. Just a couple things that I didn't even know. They're like, damn. I mean, you read some of these stories. We've all read them over the years, right? About anything about Tom getting yelled at and everyone gets yelled at, or just no pictures, or just all the stuff that goes on. I didn't realize about their practices. It is an environment where feelings, like Mike McDaniel says, like, we don't do feelings here. We try to win. We're in the business of winning.
I'm telling you, Mike McDaniel's going to be a highly quoted man.
I do think Jimmy coming from the Patriots, like if you just come from random team, it could be a little overwhelming, even if you would accomplish like taking a team to a Super Bowl. I think you get some pelts on the wall just internally, I think, when you just last in New England for several years, right? And in his situation,
you see a lot.
Right with Tom, right?
You see a lot of discomfort, and you're in a lot of situations that are uncomfortable.
Don't you think he's equipped, given that experience? He has to be better off than most people.
I think he's equipped given that experience. I also think anybody watching or listening to this has been hopeless before. It's a basic human, sometimes in your career, in your personal life, and that feeling can be crippling. It's hard. In your diet, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like you go down that road where it's like, what's the point of working out? Let me just eat 3 pizzas. And
I know.
And then you work out shirtless and you go, I got to make a change. But if you're hopeless, it's hard to motivate yourself. And I think with Jimmy right now, it shouldn't be that hard to motivate himself because even though everything you said is true, Trey Lance's physical skills, Trey Lance's draft position, apple of the coach's eye, all that, Jimmy Garoppolo has the upper hand. He's been an NFL quarterback. He knows the offense. He's healthy right now. Like, there's no reason for Garoppolo to feel hopeless or trapped because he has this is not a competition yet, but if it becomes one, he, for right now in 2021, has the advantage. Now, if it was a competition in 2022 or if it was a competition in 2023, he might not have the advantage. But right now, today, he has the advantage. He's played with all the players. He's played with this coaching staff. He knows the offense. He's been in the NFL. He's played a road game with fans in the NFL. You know, I was looking the other day. Washington plays Michigan week 2 of the college football season. Washington, not only did they not play a road game in front of fans last year, they did not play a road game last year. So if you're the returning starting quarterback, like, are you? Right? It's very different. So there's all this
Think how many
stuff.
guys on that team were first-year starters last year. They had to have a decent amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
Their coach.
there was a lot, even though you go, maybe I'm hopeless about me finishing my career in San Francisco if I'm Jimmy Garoppolo. You're not hopeless about the opportunity to be the starting quarterback on the team this year. And for that reason, I think he has plenty of, like when Kittle says he looks ready to roll. Yeah, because I think the best competition, the competition you probably get the most out of yourself in is a competition that you think you can win. That's the easiest one to get yourself mentally fired up for. Now, sometimes you're in a competition, maybe you don't think you can win, but you try and you do your best and whatever. But the easiest one to get yourself fired up for is a competition that you need to have a little edge. You need to be on your best in order to win, but you think you can win because that gives you confidence. And that makes you want to compete. And I think right now he should have confidence that if it comes to a competition, he can win that competition, given how little experience Trey Lance has.
The coaches, because so much of football in training camp, like once the season starts, once like we have a month in, we'll just be able to be like, Jimmy's played well. Jimmy's been average. Jimmy's been shitty. Like, we'll have evidence. But when a training camp battle happens, even if you're at camp, it's still like you and I could attend every practice. It's pretty subjective unless it's a distinct gap. Because I go back to my second year at Fresno State. Derek came in, and Derek showed up early.
John was the starting tight end.
It was clear that
your sophomore year.
That Carr was better than Ryan Colburn. It was clear, like physically gifted. But Pat, he was just a little, he just wanted to give this guy the chance. Like, he kind of manipulated it a little bit. He easily could have chose Derek. And I think there were some older guys on the team that thought it was Ryan's time, but I think everyone acknowledged Derek was more talented. Kyle Can.
Didn't he wait till Jimmy, the Thursday before the opener to name a starter that year?
But he had told him I think the week before, Ryan knew. Because the opener was against Rutgers, on Thursday night. Greg Schiano, the McCourty brothers, Devin Britt.
They had a receiver. Kenny Britt.
Yeah, but my point is Jimmy can only control what he can control. Kyle gets to kind of it's not out of the realm of possibility if Trey Lance is just freaking incredible and Jimmy's struggling in camp, or just Jimmy and Trey's just better, that Trey could just beat him out. It's unlikely, but ultimately it's up to Kyle, not Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? The coach.
I do, but I think
they do have a lot of juice. The coach can just, this guy's a starter. It happens all the time.
It definitely does, but
more than the other sports, right? Just we had it in our gut. Usually in it happens every once in a while in baseball, a guy makes a team out of spring training. But in football, when you have a crazy, this guy's no longer the starter, because in basketball everyone plays. In baseball, even if you're a reliever, you get to play. In football, it's if you're the backup right guard, you might not play at all, right? It's hey, this guy's been on the team for 7 years. He's not a starter anymore.
But again, that's why I think it's a perfect mix for Garoppolo, because what you just described is a very realistic situation. But again, so he's got the edge. He knows he can't be just average. He's got to be really good.
But you said 2021, and I'm with you. Today, and even going into training camp, I do think it could change. In camp and the preseason games, because just think about when he came back from the ACL, that Monday night Denver Bronco preseason game. That I don't know, Booger, whoever was calling it then, that was a disaster. Remember that? It was oh my God. They ended up making the Super Bowl that year, but it was everyone around they're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, that's part of that is dependent on how good Jimmy is. Now, you're right. Preseason starts, and Trey Lance starts running around making plays. You go, whoa. Oh.
Yeah, that's my point. I just think Trey can do things that Jimmy can't, that some of Jimmy's advantages when a guy is just physically so much more gifted. Because the one thing he had with Tom is like, I bet Bill was saying, kind of like having this guy who's just a little more mobile. And then we've watched Jimmy. It's not like Jimmy ain't Josh Allen, but relative to Tom, I bet inside, like him and Josh, like we can do some boot stuff. We can do some rollout stuff.
Tom's like, how about I just get rid of the ball in half a second and throw it to the right place?
At one point in time, think about how crazy life is. Jimmy Garoppolo was in New England when Tom Brady was widely considered, even at the time, the greatest quarterback of all time. And I bet people were telling him, maybe even Bill telling, maybe not Don Yee, because Don also would tell Tom. But like Jimmy was getting the vibe like, bro, this is going to be your team. You're going to take over for Tom freaking Brady. And then things change. He's traded, and now he's fighting for his own life. Like, sports is kind of a microcosm in life. Like, you can really go penthouse to outhouse. Now, the great part is, even outhouse, when you're making big money, it's like not really an outhouse. You still get to live in the sweetest house. But you do have pride in what
Especially
you
as a
do.
quarterback.
And yeah, it can change quick.
Yeah.
Like, Jimmy's a couple bad years away from just being a backup.
Right.
Right? It sounds kind of crazy, but when you think about it, like a bad year this year, he doesn't win a spot next year as a starting quarterback. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo could turn into a backup, I think, faster than we think. / he could resurrect his career and have 8 more years of starting quarterback.
You can become a backup and then become a starting quarterback pretty quick, right?
Which one, like, is he more likely to kind of have that career kind of up and down, or would you say he's a starting quarterback at minimum the next 4 or 5 years?
I don't know. I think it's a fork in the road this year. I don't know. I think he's capable of being a starting quarterback for the next 4 or 5 years. I definitely do. But, he's not going to get that up. First and foremost, he's not going to get that opportunity if he's not healthy this year.
Yeah. No.
Because at minimum, if you're healthy, you can come into camp and maybe we draft a guy and then you got to beat him out. But at least you can beat him out. If you're not healthy, no one's even going to give you that chance. Like, here's $9 million. Here's the Andy Dalton situation last
But
year.
even Andy,
Or
like
this
Jimmy's
year, this
high
coming
has
year.
been probably higher than Andy. But Andy just has way more games. Like,
His
like,
career
I've
as
started
a
for 8
player,
straight years.
yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy at any moment could just head to the training room.
So, I mean, do you feel like you know an answer to that question?
No, he, in a weird way, he's one of the more fascinating players in the league. Like, what's his career? If you told me he was a backup in 2 years, I'd believe it. If you told me he had a great year and then gets kind of the Alex Smith, like they trade him, he signs an extension with the Washington football team, I believe that too.
Yeah.
Because he's not that old and he's pretty good. He's better than most, but he's not an elite guy. He's kind of one of those in the middle.
Better than most. Better than most. That was my golf call.
We think about you, Tiger.
Was that the line? Better than most?
Yeah, better than most. Better than most.